of 2.5 lakh capacity each. Each line is 2.5 lakhs. And these lines will be set up one by one as the market demand grows. The Suzuki equity which comes into Gujarat will be determined by the pace of implementation of these 6 lines. Because equity plus the depreciation which will be realized from the plants which have been commissioned and which will go back into investment in setting up another line is what will add up to 18,500. The amount of equity which Suzuki will bring in could be 8,000, 8,500, 9,000, even maybe 10,000, depending how fast we implement the project. So there is no firm figure for that. But the important thing is the total amount is 18,500, consisting of equity and the depreciation which is realized from the plants which are commissioned and working in Gujarat.
So what are the benefits that you say that Maruti gets? Can you run us through that? And what are the benefits that would come to Maruti because of this deal? Can you run us through that? And also, initially the deal was something else, and then there was a markup and all. If you can just elaborate on what are the things wherein Maruti gave some kind of a sweetness to the investors in the beginning.
The benefit to Maruti, I think we have explained. It means that to the extent Suzuki puts in 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 crores of equity, to that extent, our resources do not get invested in setting up the manufacturing capacity. But operationally, in all respects, the Gujarat plant will function as if it was a Maruti plant. So it really means that you are getting the benefit of a production factory set up free of cost for you. And the money which you would have normally spent is available for you for doing your R&D, strengthening marketing, sales, whatever, earning money from treasury, whatever you do. But it's like if you had a plot of land and somebody came and told you that, look, I'll build the house for you according to your specifications. You use it as you like, for as long as you like, virtually, and don't pay me any rent. It's free for you. Is that a benefit to you or not? Exactly. So now that's why I said the first question was, Suzuki, why is Suzuki doing it? The reason Suzuki is doing it is a little different from the example I gave you, because Suzuki owns 56% of Maruti. When the profits from the Gujarat project come to Maruti, Suzuki gets 56% of that. Suzuki, if it did the project on its own and did not bring Maruti into it, could not have made any profit in the project without having the ability to sell and service 1.5 million cars. None of the foreign companies who have come into India, and they've been here for 10 years, 15 years, 18 years, have yet been able to get close to 1.5 million cars. By using Maruti, Suzuki hopes to sell this 1.5 million cars, maybe in 7, 8, maximum 10 years. So there is something to be gained by Suzuki by coming to Maruti. Maruti gains the profit. Maruti shareholders get the benefit of the profit from 3 million cars instead of 1.5 million cars without investing money.
But is the argument correct that Maruti, it was also given in the beginning, that somehow Maruti becomes a kind of a trading company in the sense that, at the end of the day, any manufacturing company in this field also has a factory, and you've got 9,000 crores of cash reserves.
What does a trading company do? A trading company buys a product and sells it, right? What does a car company do? Besides selling the product, it has to do 20, 25 years of after-sales service, maintenance, repairs, spare parts, and all of that. It is responsible for the product for its life. Which trader is responsible for what he sells for life? If you buy steel or cement from a trader, his job is over once he delivered the product to you. So trading as such and selling cars is actually entirely different. The car business is like no other business which there exists. Because even if you're talking of items like refrigerators or air conditioners or such things, they don't require the kind of after-sales service and spare parts that the car does. The impact of the car, if it is not properly maintained on a person's life and safety, is quite different from what it would be with an air conditioner, or refrigerator, or a microwave. So the entire concept of a car business needs to be understood, that a car business is not a trading business, it's not a selling business. Because you think if you're selling a car, the story is over. It is not. And I think that's something which many of our analysts fail to understand, that a car business is not like any other business.
So, Mr. Bhargav, is it safe to assume that for the next 10 years, Maruti, at least per se as a company, will not set up any manufacturing facility on its own? That's over.
Unless we are able to fully utilize the capacity which will come up in Gujarat.
As you said, it will take 10 years to utilize that. So
I don't know how many years it will take. It may take 10, it may take 8, it may take 11. I don't know today because it depends on the market.
Yeah.
So how can I say today exactly how long it will take?
So can you tell us how many investors abstained from voting and
Sorry?
why? How many investors abstained from voting? They did not vote, and why?
The total number of shares held by minority shareholders would be about 13 crores, of which the numbers voted is a little about half, let's say. So half have voted, half have abstained. Usually, I mean, in our elections also, that is what happens. Everybody doesn't vote. And that's the pattern here. About half have voted.
Mr. Bhargav, one bone of contention for the last many months was that if Maruti were to use that money for its own capacity expansion or ROCE, the return on investment would be a lot higher than putting that money in a bank or in any other sort of investment portfolio. Now that Maruti, we understand that it's going to free up cash, and you will be utilizing that money for sort of strengthening your retail outlets, for setting up more after-sales outlets. Can you throw us a bit more about the sort of return that you will expect on that idle cash that you'd be investing for other purposes?
See, I think what one misses out is this so-called idle cash. Let us say I did nothing with it. I just put it into the bank. This would be extra profit compared to the profit I would have made by putting that money into the investment project. Because in the investment project, if I put, let's say, 10,000 crores into setting up the Gujarat project, I would have made profit by selling the cars. I'll still make that same profit by selling the cars. That profit doesn't change. In addition, I will make the treasury income on 10,000 crores. So is it overall better or worse?
No, sir, sure. And in fact, this is the point where some proxy advisory firms have disputed the claims that the management has made, because they have said in the last few years the ROCE has been in the range of 12 to 13%, whereas if you were to put that money in a bank, that will be at the most 8%. In fact, that's what you've said.
My ROC would become much, much higher now, because the Gujarat project capital employed doesn't enter into my calculation. So I double my profit or more than double my profit when I sell 3 million cars. My capital employed remains what it is today. My capital employed doesn't go up from what it is today, because I'm not getting any extra money. I'm just getting the money which I have today, which I would otherwise have invested in Gujarat. So I'm doubling my profit with my ROC, nor my capital employed not going up. My equity, return on equity will more than double. ROC will double. So where is the analyst?
Then give us sort of an investment pipeline. So how much do we see Maruti Suzuki investing now over the next 10 years, now that you'll not be putting that money in Gujarat? Give us a sum, sir.
No, next 10 years, nobody has an investment plan. It wouldn't make any sense to put an investment plan today because investment plans depend on market conditions. Every year you make your investment plan depending on how you foresee the market going ahead in the next few years. So the Gujarat project, as I said, we are putting up the first line. But when the second line does and when the third line does will depend on market conditions. We'll review that very soon now. Yes.
Sir, again, from the same letter that you have written to IIS, you mentioned that Maruti will continue to depend on Suzuki for the platforms and the powertrains and new technologies like AMT and hybridization. So, isn't there a little bit of risk that despite the company setting up R&D center trying to enhance that in Manesar also, you will still continue to depend on Suzuki for the key technologies for the future?
Who have we depended on till now? And who owns this company?
So that's exactly the point.
No,
what I'm trying to understand. That the money that you are going to put into R&D by saving from not investing in Gujarat, despite that still if...
will it make any sense to duplicate work which is done in Japan?
I don't know, but what I'm trying to understand is...
Just think, please. I make the same research here and Japan does the same research there. It's a company owned by the same people.
But if you do it here, then you would be cutting down on the royalty, right?
To the extent I'll do work here, it'll supplement the work done in Japan. And therefore it'll increase the total capacity for product development, which is what we'll need. Because if we are going to sell 3 million cars, the number of products and the frequency of their updation will be much higher than what it is today. Japan doesn't have that capacity. By putting up R&D in India, we increase the total capacity between Japan and India. India and Japan are not separate. I think many people tend to treat these as two separate operations. They are not. They are integrated operations owned by the same company.
Yes, sir, understood. And correct me if I'm wrong, but for the new technologies, the royalty rate will be higher than